Greetings and welcome to the world of dinosaurs. The world of dinosaurs is everywhere you look today. We have dinosaur museums, we have dinosaur parks, we have dinosaur traveling exhibits, and kids love dinosaurs. But what do we really know about dinosaurs? Is it really truthful, not truthful, or not? If you go to the dinosaur exhibits and stuff, pay a lot of money and go into exhibits where dinosaurs, they are giving you information that's not accurate. Most of the information you get is based on the theory of evolution. So I've been working in the ministry with called Dinosaur Alive Ministries and Dino World Ministries for 30 years. This is the 30th year anniversary of the ministry being together. Most has been work on I've done on internet and arguing with people internet on evolution and creationism. Now I've come up with we have a traveling exhibit where it shows the fossils, models. It's a big exhibit that we take to churches anywhere, schools, to explain the truth about dinosaurs in the ancient world. Because what we know about evolution and dinosaurs in the ancient world, most of it what we get from the news media or from science or the TV shows, documentaries, and History Channel and stuff, it's all a bunch of lies. It's all based on an idea called evolution. You might have heard of that. People think evolution is a fact. Evolution is not a fact. Evolution is basically a hypothesis now. We've seen so much uh, research being done on genetics and fossils and dinosaurs and ancient materials that we know for basically a fact that evolution never took place. Like this guy, I call him Charles Chucky. He is supposed to be closest relative to man we have. So far, the evolutionists say that ancient man came from a guy like this 5 to 7 million years ago. 5 to 7 million years ago, this was your Uncle Charlie. No, really. Because believe in Charles Darwin's ideas of evolution. But the funny thing about evolution and Charles Darwin is Charles Darwin did not come up with evolution. People think Charles Darwin was the author of evolution. No, evolution existed before Charles Darwin. In fact, Charles Darwin's grandfather believed in evolution, and other people believed in evolution. Darwin was just the first person that published a book on ideas of evolution. Other people also publishing books. So he was the first one to do this, so he gets all the credit, I guess, for publishing. But he really didn't invent evolution. He didn't, Charles Darwin basically was a plagiarist in many ways. He wasn't really a real scientist in many ways. So saying Charles Darwin or Darwinism is really a misnomer because it's not really true. Evolution existed way before Darwin ever was born. So believing it, Darwin came up with evolution is just a crazy idea. It's not truthful at all. So, but if you look at evolution, there's some interesting things about evolution that people don't know, the scientists don't want you to know. For instance, this guy is supposed to have lived 5 to 7 million years ago, but there's a problem. There's a big problem with this guy existing 5 to 7 million years ago. And this problem is that he supposed to live 5 to 7 million years ago. But there is dinosaur tracks in Texas and Oklahoma and in Russia and other places that have sauropod tracks and human tracks mixed together. And it's been dated 113 million years. So, how can this guy exist 5 to 7 years and when we're supposed to have this guy when we have 113 million years here? But it's another problem. It's not all humans today are alive on Earth. All the humans, all their friends, everybody in your church, everybody, they are 99.9% the exact same. So everybody is exactly the same alive on Earth, which presents a problem for evolutionists. Because here's an interesting problem. So chimps and humans are 98% alike. So that gives him an idea with humans and evolution coming from ape-like creatures. But it's an interesting problem that if you look at the percentage of DNA data, pigs also have 98%. So this is common sense to say that pigs also could be used as progenitor species, and we could have pig people. So if evolution is really true, we'd have pig people probably walking around. If evolution is really true, we have people like Zootopia, Disney's cartoon Zootopia. We have humans or humanized animals running around. That's what evolution would look like if it was really true. If it's not true. But another problem is you could be a banana because bananas share 60% of DNA of humans. So the problem is DNA doesn't hold out for this guy to be your Uncle Charlie. But there's also another problem with evolution. That is anomalous artifacts that cannot be explained. They found iron balls, machine iron groove balls in coal mines, Carboniferous coal mines, which dates pre-dinosaur. So somebody was living on Earth before dinosaurs even existed, if evolution is right. So something is not right. So when we look at the evidence we know that some things don't add up. For instance, there's an article called The London Artifact. The artifact was found around 1937 by a husband and wife was hiking near London, Texas. They found these hammer piece of rock projecting from rock outcropping. So they took it home. Eventually found out it was a hammer like this. This is a museum replica of it. That this iron hammer was encased in this rock. It's interesting. This rock has been dated by different sources being 400 to 500 million years old, which is older than the human sauropod tracks. So here we have a problem. We have an iron implement made by somebody that was made millions and millions of years ago, according to evolutionists. So the problem is this artifact. The interesting is that it's made of 96.6% iron, and there's no air bubbles in it. This is made from material we cannot make today. So this hammer is impossible to make today. We cannot duplicate this. So how did somebody make this millions of years ago? The other problem is this: that they've cut into the iron to take part and to study it, but it's shiny and it's not. There's no rust anywhere. There's no wear and rust anywhere. So no iron would rust in time. This is no rust. This iron is made so that it will not rust. The interesting other thing is that the handle here has been partially turned to coal. That means it's really old because coal shows that it is not a modern day artifact. Now evolutionists like to claim this is from the 1930s. That is an iron hammer lost and the stone and stuff people placed there, and it'd be just picked up years later. It doesn't make any bit of sense. It's a stupid explanation because you don't have carbon, coal develop that fast, and we cannot make this iron today. So this object is impossible to make, but it exists. The real one is in the Texas in the Carballs Museum in Texas. I got this from the Carballs Museum because I thought it was a really interesting article. I put in my museum. a dinosaur museum, because this is really interesting artifact, and it shows that things are not always as seem to be. We have to understand that things are in this world don't add up according to evolution. We know evolution has many, 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 many problems we have to look at. One of the big problems we have to look at is dinosaurs themselves. Dinosaurs could never have evolved when the time frame they said, because dinosaurs are too complex an animal. For instance, here we go. This is the Brachiosaurus. The Brachiosaurus is a big, giant dinosaur. But did man see this guy? In the Bible, the book of Job, God's talking to Job and said, "Behold the behemoth. He has his strength is in his loins, and he has a tail the size of a cedar tree." Now, what animal that would be around that has such a description? Had tail as the size of a cedar tree. The only thing that makes sense is a dinosaur. So we know from the Bible, we know from carvings, rock paintings, we know various sources around the world that man and dinosaurs lived together same time frame. So we know that dinosaurs and humans are contemporaries, which totally destroys evolution. Another problem is with evolution with dinosaurs and humans. Go back to look at the tracks in Texas. When I was in Bible college, my professor in archaeology went down to Texas, to Glen Rose, Texas, and did a paper on the research he did on human tracks and dinosaur tracks. On these tracks, they're supposed to be 113 million years old. So 30 years ago, when I started this ministry, I went down to Texas and I go, I'm going to see these for myself. I really don't believe they exist. I don't know if they did or did not, but I want to see if my archaeology teacher was right. So I went down and studied and looked around the distant photographing and area, and I found something interesting. I found exactly what he's talking about. I found human footprints and sauropod tracks together, and the human prints had, it was like any other human. It's not very good drawing, but it has a footprint, like you can see the indentation of the toes, each digit, the heel, the arch of the foot, and you see that the part around here is the mud was pushed up like a human is walking through mud. If you you go to a lake and you see a creek and you see a lot of mud and walking barefoot, you make exact same footprints. But also you see right next to it, you see sauropod tracks, and they're all over the place. And the stride of these tracks is the exact stride as a human. So there's no way these things can be messed up sauropod tracks or anything else but human. So we know humans and dinosaurs lived at the same time. We know that the Bible is right. When talking about in the book of Job, we're talking about dinosaurs and strange creatures that God is telling Job about. We can take assurance that the Bible is accurate and right. We have to understand that evolution is not something that's realistic. It's something the world has put in place to take you away from God, take away from the truth, to hide the truth from you. They want to indoctrinate your children into evolution so that they can be what they want them to be. They can discard religion, discard common sense, discard all things that faith, because people who have without faith are much easier to control. And that's all evolution really is. It's a controlling mechanism. Evolution has nothing to do with science. The ideas of evolution date back even to pagan religions, where it talks about animate cells and objects coming to life and spontaneous growing, like cutting off God cutting off a limb or something, and life springing up like the Osiris epic and stuff. So Evolution has nothing to do with science. Evolution has everything to do with religion and pagan religion. So if you understand the world today, we live in the world is made by God, not a product of Charles Darwin or our cousin Charles here. So take assurance that God is in control, that your life has purpose and meaning, and the Bible is actual accurate. So have a great week and trust God. Peace.